Let's see, this thing on? Okay, so the audio was lost on my intro, so I'm gonna wing it. Hey, welcome to this episode about building the shop. It's not over there, but it's gonna all around here. The shop's over there, and it's gonna be a big shop, and we're gonna show you how to build it. And we got a bunch of problems we're gonna solve because it's all jacked up, and then it'll be okay when we're done. My first problem on this job, this is the center line of my column, 6-inch column, basically like this. We completely missed the bolts. Foundation wall guys put these in, don't know what happened. They're perfectly the same, they're just all that far off. So the center's here, my bolts aren't gonna work, so I've got a problem to fix. I'll show you what I'm gonna do. So when bolts are missed, the first thought is let's just cut them off and we'll drill and epoxy some new bolts. Bad idea because this is a 3/4 all thread. Goes down there 1 foot 2 inches and it has 2 nuts double nutted on the bottom. Impossible to pull out. If you drill an epoxy, it's tight, but it's never as strong as that. So what I'm going to do is I have these plates cut. I'm going to drop that on there. I'm going to drill some epoxy over here, not really for the hold down, but just to help me level this up and get it all leveled up. And then I'm going to weld. These bolts are going to get cut off. I'm going to weld everything to the plate. Then I'm going to weld my column to that. Inspectors probably don't like it, but this is my shop and I want it as strong as possible, and that's the best thing that I can come up with. So, the next thing you've got to check when you're doing this before you do anything is that all of your points are lasered. They're all level. This has a 2-foot wall. I got parts up here. I got an 8-foot wall over here. At 3 different heights I got to hit, and I want to make sure they're all good. I've done buildings before where I get all the red iron up and realize one of these might have been 2 inches low, and it's just a mess. So first thing you want to do is lay out your centers, and then you need to check your grade on everything. So I'm going to do that now. I went around with my laser and I found the highest bolts, so can't go any lower, so set that to my laser. Now all I got to do is spin these down until I get to my grade. I got them all. It's not going to be perfect. I'm going to take this plate. I'll take a small level and I'll tune those up really good, but now I can go around. There's 6 places that these columns go. Gotta get them all to the same grade, then I can set my posts. I gotta set posts because I can't drive the forklift in here after I pour concrete for 28 days. Then I'm gonna go from here up 2 feet like these. They've gotta be exactly 2 feet above that, and then the back wall's gotta be 6 feet above that. It's all gotta be perfect. You can't mess around. Anytime you start any building, the most important time to spend all of your time is making sure from the very get-go that it's right. Otherwise you fight it the whole way out. So I'm going to run along, I'm going to install all these, and I'll tune them up. I'm going to end up cutting these bolts off right here and welding that all thread to this plate. These are only just to help me keep it level and tight. They're not really, they'll hold a little bit, but all my holding power is in these pre-set, installed in the concrete, all threads. All right, I'm going to keep working. One other thing I didn't mention is I took these, I sent the plans to the welding shop, and they cut out these on the CNC, and then I bolted those so that I had my 4 rebar, so that the foundation guys could just drop them in and they'll always fit the bolt holes. Even though they missed them, if they would have hit them right, I would have dropped right on. Helps now because I use the same template to get these cut out. So it works better than plywood. Plywood always throws you off. Got these studs cut off and welded to this plate, so I'm 100% strong. Anyway, we're working on steel building, but I haven't been able to video much because we're in such a hurry with the guys here. I just can't stop to do the, it just can't, it's too hard. Anyway, let me just walk you through what we've got. I wanted to set these because, well, number one, I had to weld those steel plates on, but even if I didn't, I can't drive a 25,000 pound forklift in here for like a month safely. So I wanted to get all my heavy stuff in here beforehand. So, order of operation. I stand the verticals on both sides, right? And then I take an eave strut or even a purlin, put that on, that ties all three together, and then just ratchet straps. And that thing is not gonna move either which way. I build these, put those two pieces together on the ground, bolt them all together, lift the whole thing as a unit. Guys will swing up and bolt that one, and they'll swing over and bolt that one. As far as rack this way, there's so much strength in the bolts, I've never had any trouble that way. Here's a little montage of everything I just said, so you can see it. This one I had brace ratchet straps, but this structure right here is called a wind vent. This big steel dude is bolted all in and then bolted there, and what that does, because I have so many doors and windows on the front, I can't get cable X braces, so this replaces that. There's enough strength and rigidity in that I don't even need the straps anymore. So I put the eave straps on there. Anyway, the building is all secure that way. It's not gonna fall down. I get to that point, that's all I can do. I could build more, but I'm gonna get in the concrete guy's way. This way they can still get the pump. They can drop the concrete pump in from above. Next step was this floor. Oh my gosh, you wanna talk about a lot of work. So we got a rough grade, about an inch below, and then we've been bringing in, we put on vapor barrier plastic. See a little sticking up there? Then we grade all that out, and then I go along with the level and flattened out completely perfect. We just lay all this out, and I still got to do all that, tie all the rebar, do all the radiant floor. So this might not look like much, but putting that foam down on that pipe took 3 guys a full week. And it was a lot of work. Just to get to that point was like an accomplishment for me, and I still have miles and miles to go, but the shop's starting to come along. Got some rain last night. It's like 5 days after the pour. Saw me putting that sealer on. Now look at how well that seals. I'm hoping that does that for oil. Kind of doubt it. But then like right here, I didn't notice it, but I got a little light. I rolled some on there. That would be almost like a spray. Here's my old line. It doesn't, it's soaked right up. And then over here, this is getting flooring over here, so I didn't seal it. And look, dry as bone. So that sealer definitely works if you lay it on heavy. I can see I got a lot of light areas. I might hit the whole thing again. Really tighten it up. Hey, welcome back. We are ready to start building the building. Got the floor all in, you saw that. And now I need to get some purlins across here, because the middle of these, they got a lot of flex in them. So I need to get at least 1 row of purlins through here so that I can build these end walls up. By myself today, because my scissor lift is broke and there's really nothing else anybody can do to help me without another lift. So I'm gonna manhandle these down, get them bolted on, and go from there. When you put your purlins on, there's one that overlaps here, stacks on top of this. So if you go along, I just put one bolt in. It's just to hold it upright until I can get the other side set. And then I'll come back and lay the other one on top of it, and then I'll finish all my bolting. Kind of temporary and spliced together the whole way. See, I'll have to go down, I'll put a temporary bolt in that one, then I'll get the next bay. Once I have it nested, pull that other bolt out, put all the bolts in, just leapfrog all the way down. There's only like 95 of them. If you don't know what this is, it's a spud wrench. Got a pointy end, crescent wrench. And it is used for, see those holes don't line up? It's just a hole aligner. Very slick. Be careful I don't drop these tools on that fresh concrete. It will bust it all up. Alright, then I come back, overlay. Those holes get a lot harder when you get an overlay going, but we'll get to that. If you look, the overlap is different on each one. It kind of goes back and forth. You can tell by right here. You can see that this flange is much wider than this one. So it nests in here. If it's the other way, you can't get this to nest in here. So if you're having trouble getting your holes to line up, you're not nesting right. So I'll put a bolt here. It's all laying flat. Then I'll get my, I'll just show you. 2 outside bolts kind of hold my holes where I need to be. Now I got to manhandle it. Bolt ready. One in. 2 of them in there. Just work them against each other. It lines everything up. Once you get to this point, if you pull that out, you're going to have a hard time getting that bolt in. So get it nice and back down so that hole's going to work. Now I get my bolt in. I already dropped the wrench, put a big old chip in the concrete. Need a wrench on the back. If you just hit it with the impact, it'll tighten up. Pretty much it. You do that 95 times. I'll update you when I get something more better to look at. Just keep putting it together. This is my temporary bolt. I have to build this end wall, but I'm not going to get to that for a couple of weeks. So it's really important that you tighten these tight, impact tight, because the wind wiggles those, they chatter, and it'll undo the nut, and then this will swing and it'll bend. I've had it happen a lot. So if you're not going to do it today, impact it tight. Your wall girts, everything. That wind will work that nut off, no problem. Okay, I got those purlins up. Now, as you build your structure up, you need to brace. I got X braces. It shows on the plans. Maybe I'll show you that, but these X braces will keep this whole frame from shaking. The wind will just tear this thing apart. So I did one, I'm going to show you how I do the rest of them here. The plans have cut measurements for the cables. They've always got me in trouble. I don't trust them anymore. So I just run the cable and then I cut it off once I get it all in here. There's two types, this type, and then there's like a T, stick in there, turn sideways, it has a loop on it. For some reason they don't have them on this one. Just take a little yellow mark as your minimum. It's hot because I just cut it, so I hold it with my pliers. And you just roll it around. Hard on your fingers. Take your eye bolt. Get it wrapped as high as you can. Can't hear anything. Hard on you. Anyway, that's what we end up with. This style has a little notch here. It seats in the frame. Move to the other side. Put that in. I'm on the other side of that cable now. I just barely get a couple threads on there, so I have a lot of room to tighten. Pull it hand tight. Just cut the cable off. Make sure you don't hit any of your important stuff, I guess. Oh, dang it. Wasn't supposed to drop it. I've got this, I just had the ratchet straps there, temporary, and I got my cables up. This is leaning to the left. And this is how you level up your frame. Get your level up. See, I'm leaning a little bit to the left. Come out. See that? I'm about 3/8 and 6 feet. So I'm going to tighten this cable, and it'll pull this over. And you got to be careful that the other one's not too tight, or you can't pull. So you got to loosen that one up a little bit. Tighten this one. Okay, I put all these purlins on. And I got my 3 cross braces on the roof and my cross brace here. Now the building is really solid. That wind vent, remember, carries this shear this way, no cables. I'm still going to put my ratchet straps on just to be safe until I get sheeted. That's what you can do with one guy in half a day. Can't reach back here. My scissor lift is broke. I'm hauling it to get fixed. Then I'll work on the back. I don't dare drive on this concrete. It's only 4 days old. That's too heavy. So got my 12-foot ladder a little bit, but I'm gonna go get some lunch and then I'm gonna start trying to figure out how I'm gonna stand that back wall solo. Be tricky. Okay, it's been too busy. I wasn't able to film much, but I'll show you what I've got. Building this end wall, so put my brackets on the bottom. I stood that up. It stood up by itself if I had it all tight. Same thing right there. Put those two pieces together, swung it up there, got the jib or the man lift, got bolts in that, swung this side over there, got bolts in that. Put 2 purlins on so it won't go this way. Ratchet straps won't go this way. Now I'm gonna let that forklift down and I can keep building. Okay, something to know here. This is a slot. You can see that's actually a little bit oval. It's not really round. That's a perfectly round hole. If it has a round hole, no washer. If it has a slot, the side that has a slot gets a washer. Slotted this way and this way, double washer. Like these right here, those have round holes, so it's no washer either side. So slot gets a washer, round hole gets no washer. Also, I'll put these all in, but I don't tighten them up because while you're doing this wall, you gotta flex stuff around a little bit. So I like to get everything hung kind of loose, then I'll come back and tighten it all up once I get it all up. If I had the crew here, we would build this entire wall on the ground, pick it up, slide on the bolts, but that is not possible with one guy. So I'm kind of doing it the hard way. Loose, slots get a washer. These angle brace pieces, or not angle brace, cable brace, they go through. Put my brace, I'm gonna have to cut holes in here, get my angles through. Same on the other side, because that metal, you can't cut a hole in that and get any kind of strength. You got to have hard steel to steel. This is not a real good structural member to pull with, so that's how those work. Time for a montage. The only thing worse than having your bolts off is the foundation's off. So this building's 50 by 100. That means the foundation has to be exactly 50 by 100 because it's a steel structure, CNC punched for 100 feet. Well, wouldn't you know it? 100 feet 2 inches. Doesn't look like much, but that's a huge problem. Huge problem. I don't know what they did. That means that this is out of level 2 inches, out of plumb. You can see because like right here, it doesn't line up at all. So I'm gonna have to kick that out. Probably bolt the outside because that's important. I got overlaps there. I can pull that over and drill new holes all the way down. The ones that are gonna be hard are these because they're pretty tight. Anyway, I got the straps on, I got the frames leveled. I'm gonna put a laser on here, kick it out, then go back over there, drill new holes, string line that. It's just another 6 hours work I didn't want to do. I don't know if I'm gonna tackle that today, but I got this pile of metal I gotta get rid of because if you don't get the metal up, you end up driving over it, ruining it. Bought a piece right there. So I think I'm just gonna find someplace I can go. I'm gonna save this problem for another day when I have more help. I guess this isn't a show-off video. This is a how to fix every possible problem that could come up in a steel building. Because I don't think we've missed any yet. Yeah, we'll make it right. You know the difference between a rookie and a professional? You can't tell that a professional screwed up. And that's what will happen here. Well, I didn't screw up, but I can fix it. We'll make it work. Anyway, I'm gonna go bolt some more crap together. Okay. Remember, foundation was 2 inches long this way, which puts that 2 inches in because the bolts are built for 100 feet. So what I'm gonna do is I got my laser set up right here. I set it to 3 inches right there, and I'm gonna go up and get 3 inches on the top. Just slide that over, and I gotta torch new holes. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna mark that. I'm gonna slide it over 2 1/16. Should bring me to level. Take it easy. What that did with the laser. There we go, I got my 3 inches per set. I got torch holes and put bolts in. Okay, I just gotta do that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 more times, and then we'll have it. Okay, it's almost dark. I've been waiting to do this at night. I've got to get these straight. They could have a bow in them, you really can't tell. I got this X frame all leveled up. So I've got my Stabila LA180L. This is the coolest laser ever made. So I got this line here. I'm gonna line it up on there. Then I set my receiver over there. Try to get close. See that over there? And I'm hitting this good. Now, the Stabila L180L, if you push this, it will move until it centers that up. Okay, now that I've got my laser set down there, I don't need the eye because my line is right there. See that? And it's going to shine all the way down this thing, and I'm just going to play with these cables until I can get everything straight. See that? If I can see that. About a 1/2 inch out right there. So I can't remember how you do it, but you just sit and work them against each other until that straightens out. So I'm going to tighten this one, which will pull. So let's see if it'll work. Right, you see that? On down there, there's a little bow in this thing, but it's right there. That's important because I got to level that end wall. Remember, we got the problems. So I need all these straight. Now I can push that out, drill the new holes. I asked the engineers what shear value you get out of the metal siding. Shear value is the wall wanting to turn left and right, and they said 0. This is all the wind strength for your building. They plan on nothing from the panels, which was interesting. So I get them good and tight, and that's just the strength of your building. All right, see what else I can pull off. Maybe get a headlamp out. Hey, I missed about a week, maybe more than that. It's just been super busy with work, but I'm starting today with replacing these ratchet straps that are holding this wall up. So we got to put some cables in here at these 4 connection points. So what I do is I chalk a line on the outside of the wall girt from that one down to this one, that one, square it all up, and then I torch holes with plasma. So let's see how I do it. And disclaimer, nobody ever showed me how to do this. I've made all this up on my own, so this may or may not be how you do it. Nothing to hold on to here, and I'm working by myself, so I'm going to put that there, string down to the corner. So I got that string from there, and I just line it up with that hole right there. I like that, and I flip it. Do the same thing on the other side. So I got my chalk line. I just kind of eyeball that square because I'm going to do a pretty big hole, you know. Hard to hold with one guy. Anyway, come right there. Flip my square. Everything's going to be 4" because it's centered. And then I'm just going to torch a hole about like this. Doesn't have to look pretty because you're never going to see it, and you want enough room. You don't want those cables rubbing against that. The other thing is you got to make sure this wall is plumb. Make sure it's level, which is plumb and vertical. If it's not, and you drill these holes, and while you're leveling it up, it's gonna run into the side of these. So now we'll just torch them out, and then we'll run our cables. Like that. So I'm using a Hobart 110 plasma, like $700 or something. It'll cut this light gauge stuff, but it won't cut anything else. I've tried drilling and cutting and grinding and everything, and this seems to be the best way. So I'll cut 4 of those and we'll run the cable through. Okay, now that I have both of my X braces in, that replaces my ratchet straps. Once it's secure, it's not windy, everything's safe. Now I can pull these off. Just let them loose. And I'm gonna replumb this wall by pulling on either one, just like I did with the ratchet straps. I've got a adjustable wrench, way easiest way to do it. So the one I want to use is the tallest one. It's going to be my truest one. So we're going to set that up here. What do we got? I got to go to the right a tiny bit. To do that, quiz time, which cable? I'm going to pull to the right, so we're going to pull on this one. Should about do it. Right there. This isn't your final, just getting the building secure. I could get all my red iron on, everything completely done, and then before we start sheeting walls, you go through one more time and double check. Probably gonna use the laser because sometimes those will get a bow in them. These will push on them, so you may not be leveling plumbing in the right direction. All right, run over and put that X brace in, go on to the next step. Okay, if you remember, one of my bolts, my footing was high and I had to raise everything. And over there on those, I had to raise those up so they had to be exactly 2 feet because it was a 2-foot step. This is an 8-foot step, 2-foot step, 6-foot step. So what I did is set my laser in the middle. Got my laser set on the bottom of that center post. Made a mark here, went up 6 feet right there. And that's how I know that I'm exactly 6 feet up. And now I've got to extend all these. Remember, you don't always have to use that pole in with your laser. Sometimes it's really top heavy, so I like to use something a little smaller. Now that I got that set, just lower these until and now I know I'm exactly 8 feet from the bottom, 6 feet from the 2-foot step. Kind of sucks, but that's how I'm getting my... You really got to watch those. If you have a, say like a 50 by 100 and it's just a slab, pretty much you're not going to have that problem. You just got to check your layouts. But if you have steps in the walls, like I do, you have to check this stuff, because I've done this before where put the whole red iron up, come over to here, get out there and look, and it was going downhill and I had to lift the whole wall and fix it intact. So just go through with the laser and make sure everything's right before you get too far. Okay, that's how I do it by myself. Got all my bolts ready, got the bolts I need ready, all my parts. Luckily this one isn't heavy. This is the cable brace, and it's got to be mounted through this hard steel. Remember, slot gets washers. It's important that this is attached to the hard steel. There's holes up here. Those don't have anywhere near the structure to carry this kind of load. So that's how that all looks together. And then there'll be an angle brace, a cable brace I mean. So I'm going to put these, I got two more down there. And then I can set my big eave rafter. I've got 10 windows across here. There's 2 in this bay. And on the plans it will say field locate, meaning there's no holes. I got all these pieces down here that will make the window. And I'm going to go up and lay out where they are. And I'm going to take the plasma up there, cut the holes, put the verticals, and then the horizontals. I'll walk you through it. Okay, I've laid out my windows, the right side, the left side. Put the trusty laser on that. Shot it up here, you can see that dot. I'm going to do that on all 4 of them. And then I know perfectly level, plumb, where everything's going to go. That's my window line, and I figured out that the bolts are 1.5 inches right there, center line. Put some marks on my square so I know where to drill them. Torch them. Set one of these up, line it up with my line, line it up with my centers, mark it. on the top we've got an angled piece, right? Because that's got a pitch to it. You see that one up there? So that goes up on that one. Same deal, mark the holes. And then loosely bolt it together, because I don't know if you can see it, but these always have a dip in them. And you got to put 2x4s and straighten it all out. So you want to kind of loose until you get that all where it's supposed to be, and then tighten everything up. Anytime you're doing a window or a garage door opening, there's tin that goes around that. We'll have a finish here. So you use these little flatheads so that they go almost flush. And then you can trim out everything. So anytime you're inside a window or a door, use those little guys. When you're putting frames in like this, it's hanging out, there's a lot of adjustment. You want to get that as flush as possible. And then tighten everything down. This inside corner, the top might move, might be out, but it's okay. It'll flex. Just make sure that's flush. I'm working on my door jambs, side of my door. Got this angled clip that matches the rake, which goes right here. They don't have any holes, so gotta drill some holes. But using my laser, see my laser's down there. I set it 3 inches off the wall. Got my laser dot right here. And then I take my tape, I line that up with the 10 and mark 13. That's the side of my jam. Lasering 20 feet. You can't level with the regular level 20 feet. The only way to get it accurate is laser. So I'll punch some holes, put all my bolts in, nothing too complicated. That kind of wraps it up on this one. I'm just doing the red iron in this video, and then the next video I'll do all the trim, because that's where all the hard stuff is. Anyway, thanks for watching. If these are too long and you want me to break them up into like 15-minute sections, let me know. See ya.